Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. You know, I should have did a before and after picture, but here's a little project I had. My father-in-law had a 1989-90 John Deere RX75. He was going to throw it out because it wasn't working, and I said, you know what? I'll take it. I'll restore it, bring it back to its glory. Believe it or not, a lot of the parts you can find for this thing on Amazon. There is a couple other websites that have parts as well. At least you can get the part numbers and then find the parts online. But I just wanted to make this quick video just to show you what I did here, and I'll point some things out. If you own an RX75, I could point out some things on how to do certain things, like say the front suspension. So the front suspension was totally hosed, and I actually got these right here, these bars, on greenparts.com, and they're very simple. A little 1/2-inch nut, it just screws right into the steering assembly here, and then on the other side there is just one bolt, that nut that holds it in. And I guess there's two types. So this type is, you can see where it screws in, it's mounted right to the steering assembly. But I guess there's other models that don't have this. So the nut is actually welded to the steering assembly, but there are other models where it's just a hole and there's a nut on the other side. You got some grease points right here, zerk there, over here. That's important to keep this moving. Here's the clutch. This is the lever handle which I put on. This didn't have a lever handle, so I just got this on eBay used for 10 bucks, slid it on. This was really digging into your hand. Here you got your throttle. I cleaned it up so you couldn't read any of the markings on here or any of the information, and I just touched it up with a marker. Really simple. The deck was a mess. I'm gonna try to, like I said, I'm gonna try to post pictures during this video, but just got some spray paint and it came out really nice. It looks almost brand new. This wheel's new, as you can see. Really simple. There's a pin and then a cotter pin that holds it in. You just take that cotter pin out. This slides right out. This will drop. You do have to lift it so that you can get this assembly out. Once the assembly's out, you got 2 locking pins and 2 washers. So it goes locking pin, washer, wheel, washer, locking pin. Self-explanatory. Let's take a look at the brake. I had to redo the brakes and they were actually really easy to do. So if we look under here, this is our brake assembly, and check this out. It's pretty cool. Like, there's a little rotor right here, so this spins. This is a brake caliper, and to take this off, it's pretty easy. There's just 2 bolts, one here, one here, and then there's this bolt in the middle, and this connects to the lever that goes to the brake pedal, and this is how you adjust the brakes once you get this on. So underneath here, I'm gonna try to get this. So there's our 2 pads. So you see the pads on either side of the rotor. How this works is, once you get it all assembled and greased up and lubed and everything, you want to tighten this nut right here. It's a lock nut, and then test your brakes, see how it goes. If you have to back it out or if you have to tighten it more, you could definitely do so until you get it just right. And there's 2 little pins in here, so when you push the brake pedal down, it pushes those pins in to the brake pads, which then clamps in onto the rotor. It's a pretty simple setup, but you don't need like crazy stopping power with this thing. I cleaned the engine. I took apart the carburetor, cleaned it out. I added a fuel filter that you can see right here, and it does also have a shutoff. So this originally just had a shutoff. For some reason, he didn't have a fuel filter on here. Again, I got this for like $4 on Amazon. I actually got them 2 just to have an extra one. Change the oil. It takes 520 oil. I put a full synthetic in there. It runs like butter. I cleaned the throttle assembly and lubed it up. I mean, this was a mess when I got it. Inside there's a battery. Apparently there's a battery stabilizer, but what I did was I didn't want to order that for him, so I put zip ties, and that should hold it in place. Let's see. So the right here you have your PTO. This engages the blade, and this is obviously determines, you know, how fast you're going. And you got your different settings right here that you can now see because I highlighted them with a marker. You know, it looks a lot more legible now. You can actually see what they look like. But how it works is, you know, you push the clutch in, you put it into gear, you let the clutch out, and then you're going. You're in business. From there, you could just, you know, change whatever speed you want, and then you know, push the clutch in, put it in neutral, and get your brake. It's a pretty simple setup, and it does also have this right here. This lever is to put, like, it's like a brake, like a lock, parking brake. Thank you. It's early, I didn't have enough coffee. And how it works is, again, very simple. So if you put this into this position and then you push the brake in, I'm going to push this brake in, but you'll see this drop. Okay, so let me do that again. Let me pop this up. Alright, ready? Okay, there it goes. You see how it dropped. And all it did was, if you see right there, this pin right here is the brake. It slides forward and backwards. This is the lever that we lifted up right here, and it just dropped and prevented that pin from sliding back. It's really that easy. And then if I click or push the brake, you'll see, I'm trying to do this like an acrobat. I just lifted the switch, and then the brake slides back. So now we're rolling. As far as the seat was a pain in the neck because it has this strip right here that goes all the way around the seat. You have to tuck in the seat material, it's like a vinyl, into this sleeve, and then that sleeve pushes in onto, there's obviously a metal seat in here. Really difficult to do. This whole side from, I mean, the whole thing was basically off. Really only the other side where it was connected, and I had to I did it in the sun when it was hot out to hopefully make it more pliable. But it didn't go in very easily, so it was a pain. I cleaned up, I sanded down all the rust. You can see it's all nice and green. I put some new decals on. I put this right here, the chute assembly was not on here. Here's the other deck wheel that you can see. This is the original. It's a lot dirtier than the other side, obviously, but it's still working, so I didn't replace it. This chute assembly was kind of difficult to get in. So there's a long pin that slides through. You have a lock washer that snaps on. It's a snap washer. So once you get this on, it's on. It doesn't come off. If you want to take it off, you got to cut it. But the spring was hard. So I looked online and I couldn't find anything to show me how to do this. So it was really difficult. See that part right there, that little piece of metal that's on the deck? You have to have that in that position, and then you have to have this pin or piece of metal on the spring over the chute itself. And to get it like that, you have to basically twist it, and at the same time slide this pin through. And boy, it was tough. I had to have somebody, you know, holding one side, and you know, you finagle it until you get it. And then when you do, you see the chute, it has spring to it. All 3 belts were replaced on this. There's obviously a belt for the deck, and then there are 2 other belts. There's a primary and a secondary belt. Believe it or not, those were not hard to do. But what you do need to do is you need to tip this on its side, and I would recommend tipping it this way. Of course, drain the gas. And at that time, I had actually drained the oil because I knew I was going to change the oil. And once you get it tipped over, I put a crate here with some cardboard on it so that, you know, it didn't damage anything. And then you can get access to the blades. There's videos online on how to do the blades, the belts. You could check out videos online and see how that's done. Wasn't that terrible. Oil change on this was actually pretty easy. If you see this right here, see that? Okay, so this right here, you just need to loosen this, and then the oil will come out of here. What I did was I put a hose on here and just ran it, you know, out the side. You can see. So here it is right here, and I just put a hose and I just ran it out the side into a container, and then the oil just drains out. And then you just, you know, reverse process. You tighten this up, not too tight, because I don't know what these threads are like inside. It looks like this is brass, so it's soft metal. And just make sure it's snug, and you're good to go. Just fill it up with oil. There's no oil filter on this particular engine. This is the Kawasaki 9 horsepower engine. I heard that there is a oil filter kit that you can actually put in here, but I because it's so easy to change the oil, I would say just change the oil every season, you know. And it only takes about a quart of 5W20, so not that complicated. I don't see any reason why you'd want to put an oil filter on there if you're going to change the oil like that. To start it, you put it in choke, you turn the key, ignition, and it will turn over. Once it catches, you put the throttle into this position, and then, you know, you could slow it down or you could just keep it here. Pretty simple. Because I clean the carb now, I mean, it purrs like a kitten. Really good. The deck lever is kind of hard. Ugh. You have to really, you know, push it in and lift it up. It's a heavy deck. It was a pain in the ass to get off. If you see this bar right here, and it's the same thing on the other side, there's a big gigantic pin that goes through the bar, and there's 2 pieces of the frame with a hole in it, and that pin right here goes right through. And then there's a cotter pin that slides through a hole that's in this big pin, so that's what keeps it in place. Same thing on the other side. What a pain. There is 2 other connections on the bottom here. Let me just drop this down, see if I can show you those. So, let's see. I don't know if I can see it. Yeah, I don't have the light on. So there is another bar that connects to the deck. Let me see if I'm trying to log in. There it is right here. You know what? Let me turn the light on. There we go. Okay. So you can see this bar right here. And you can see that cotter pin that's sliding through. So this bar right here connects to the lever that I just dropped. And then you can see it connects to the deck, and then you put a cotter pin right through. But I would suggest doing this first because it's so tight in there, and then, you know, connect these bars right here for the front, because like I said, in the back there it's really tight. The only other connection here is right in the middle, and that's pretty simple. This rod drops through a hole, and then there's a cotter pin in there, and there is a washer on top of that. Yeah, it was quite a chore, but fun. This was a fun project, and I think my father-in-law is going to be really excited when he sees this thing, because it's practically brand new now. Runs great. Tires are in pretty decent shape. I did a little customization here. I painted the back one yellow to touch it up, and then I had some extra green paint. I made the front ones green, and I of course ordered those caps, the center hub caps, on Amazon. I think it was like $4 for a set of 2, and it looks good. Trying to think what else. Put some seafoam in the gas to treat it. If you're having problems with the shifter here, see these 2 bolts right here? You could loosen them up, and then this whole assembly right here will slide forward or back, and you can make adjustments for this. Say it's like not staying in gear, or neutral's a little off. You have to, you know, really adjust this lever to get it to where you want it to be as far as neutral goes. Just try to loosen these 2 nuts right here and slide this assembly either back or forward. In most cases I've seen online, it's just you have to slide it back just a little bit to get the adjustment right, and then once you do, you should be back in business. There is a security shut-off switch here for safety. But as you can see, I have it band tied to the side here, because that's how my father-in-law had it. It was just dangling in here, and I didn't want it to get caught on any of these, you know, levers or anything, so I just band tied it to the side here, keep it out of the way. And I got to tell him when I see him, listen, with that setup, that means when this blade is running, you can get off the machine and it will still be running. Not the safest thing in the world, but if that's how you want to do it, that's fine. Just be pretty damn careful, because this is a big blade, a 30-inch blade, single blade, which I took off and I sharpened it, and then I put a coat of Rust-Oleum black paint on it to help, you know, to prevent it from rusting. You could get the blade online. It's like $50 for the blade, but the blade itself had a couple dings in it. It wasn't that bad, and I just sharpened it, you know. I didn't use a grinder or anything. I just used some files, and it came out really good. You know, pretty neat machine and a fun project. And like I said, I'll try to put some before and after pictures in here. I have a couple pictures, but it came out good. I mean, this thing's 1989, 90, somewhere around there. So overall, pretty good shape. Yeah, transmission's working pretty good. Brakes are good now. He uses it to tow things, my father-in-law, and I painted this up for him because this was all beat up. You can see now it's nice and shiny green. Engine's pretty simple to work on. Air filter goes in here. Just unscrew this. This top part comes off. Air filter goes in. Put it back together. Pretty straightforward. Looks like there was a cap that goes on top of this. I was trying to find it online. That's the one part I really had a difficult time finding. But I think it's okay. It's got this piece on, and I don't think it's needed. And from what I understand, there is a hood that goes on here. I found the part numbers for it, and I was actually looking it up. I think you could actually there's a hood assembly that goes on here. But I kind of like it open, you know, with the engine exposed. It's really gangster. Alright. You know what? Why don't I start it up? Just so you can see what it's like. Got the choke on. Here's your key. I'll switch it here. I'm going to turn it to start. That's it, folks. Have a good one.